Hello everyone! In this video, I'm going to talk about orientation for AS Edexcel. So, things that I will cover today, I'm going to talk about board exam papers and codes. I will also talk about course schedule and classified and past papers. So, let's get started with the board exam papers and codes. And so, for the AS level, you have 3 units. For the A level, you have a whole 6 units. So for the AS level, you're going to take units 1, 2, and 3. And to continue to finish your A level, you have to take units 4, 5, and 6. So these are the codes for units 1, 2, and 3. I am going to prepare you for unit 1 by January. And remember, your registration opens in September. So you have to keep that in mind because it's quite early in the academic year. And to register for units 2 and 3, to take these exams in May and June, the registration opens in November. All right, so past papers again, you have units exam papers, not past papers. You have units 1, 2, and 3. I talked about the codes. And again, unit 1, I'm going to prepare you by early January. The exam will be early January. Units 2 and 3 are in May and June. Unit 2 is going to be mid-May. Unit 3 is going to be late May. And you're going to have like 1 to 2 weeks in between. Not very long time. And therefore, you have to prepare. You have to solve a lot of paper 3 or unit 3 early on because those 1 to 2 weeks are not enough. And so do not worry, my schedule will make sure that you guys are prepared. All right, so unit 1 covers certain chapters, certain topics, and I just call them chapters 1 to 4. And the exam is 2 parts, sections A and B. Section A is a multiple choice. They give you a question, they give you 4 choices, A, B, C, and D, and you choose the best answer. Section B is a written part, and it's a mix of short and open questions and calculations. And the time for this exam is 1 hour and 30 minutes. It is out of 80 marks. However, they adjust for the difficulty of the exam. And so the total you will receive is going to be 120. Now, what does that mean? If the exam was super easy, then any mark you lose is going to heavily affect your final grade. Okay, so say for example, it is an easy exam, but you make some mistakes. You may not be able to get all 120 marks because you made mistakes on an easy exam. You may get only like 100 out of 120. All right, but if it's a difficult exam, even though you may make like a lot of mistakes, but if it's a difficult exam, you may find yourself ending up with like 100 out of 110 out of 120, or like even 120 out of 220. So the more difficult your exam, the higher your score could be, depending of course on your performance. Okay, so that's actually I do show you what this UMS means. It's called Uniform Mark Scale. Unit 2 has 3 sections. Section A is again multiple choice. Section B is the same thing, also a mix of written questions and calculations. Section C, however, is where you apply your chemistry knowledge to questions you've never seen before. Okay, so like new ideas, real world scenarios, unfamiliar scenarios, things you may not have seen before. And that's why solving past papers is super important, because you want to get familiar with these types of questions and train yourself. I will train you, of course, on how to think about these questions and how to get creative so you can score as many points as possible in these questions in section C. All right. Now this unit covers the next half of your syllabus, and it's chapters 5 to 9. And it's also an hour and 30 minutes, and it's also 80 marks, and then it's adjusted to 120 marks. Now, units 1 and 2 are 40% and 40%. The remaining 20% is unit 3. And unit 3 is basically a practical exam. It's a written practical exam. It is not in a real lab. Okay, so you're not going to be standing in a lab and doing a real experiment, but you will be solving questions on a paper that are related to experiments. Okay, so they may ask you to plan an experiment, to make a design, to observe certain things, to make readings, to draw a graph, okay, to talk about chemical apparatus and so on, make calculations. Okay, so calculations is everywhere. So yes, you have to be familiar with how to make calculations and all. All right, so this exam is going to be an hour and 20 minutes, and it has 50 marks. All right, so As I said, this UMS just means Uniform Mark Scale, and it adjusts for how easy or hard the paper was. And I just want to show you an example of a grade boundary. This example is from June 2024. Look at this. You could lose more than 20 marks, raw marks, on paper 1 and still get an A. Now, A is the highest thing in the AS, okay? Now, my goal for you in Unit 1 is full marks in all Units 1, 2, and 3, because it's really, really easy. It is possible to actually get full marks. In Unit 2, my goal for you is to get very, very close to the full mark. It's a little bit harder to get a full mark, but it is possible, okay? So many of you will be able to get a full mark, so that's really my goal for you. Losing all this and getting 53, that's for students who are not prepared, guys, okay? Like, you should get quite above 75 out of 80 easy. All right, so so as you can see here, you could lose all the way up to 20 marks and still get an A. Again, that's not my goal for you. My goal is really to get like very close to the full mark. And then Unit 3, as you can see, you can lose 15 marks and still get an A. But again, Unit 3, you can get very close to the full mark. All right, so we talked about exam papers and codes. Let's talk about schedule. So you guys should receive from me something that looks like this, and I list now, of course, every single lesson you will have a homework, okay, which is basically the classified. But every now and then we're gonna have a quiz after each lesson, after each part, you know, part of a chapter. We will have a quiz, and then early November I'm gonna give you a big mock exam, okay, and that's gonna be actually a live exam. I also want you to pay attention to this, because Unit 2, even though you're going to take your Unit 2, you're going to take your exam, your Unit 2 exam in May, but I cannot wait until January to start Unit 2, because Unit 2 is long and there's a lot of things to cover, a lot of topics to cover. So please note that I start Unit 2 December 8th, okay, or sometime in December, because you could be watching this video in another exam session, okay? So I'm recording this for the 2026 exam session. So if you're taking it in 2027, then the dates are going to be a little bit different. But I just want to point out that I start Unit 2 early December and I do not wait until January. So just make sure you're not waiting until Unit 1 is over. I'm not going to do that, okay? But do not worry, guys. I will have plenty of practice for you. My plan for you is to solve the past papers at least twice, okay? I mean, of course, you can do it much more, but if you solve a lot of past papers and you understand the content very well, then you can really score very, very close to the full mark. And it is easy and possible to score the full mark. All right, because I really want you to guarantee an A in the AS. All right, third thing I want to cover here is classified and past papers. Of course, you guys know my deal and you know my style. I make my students solve a lot of classified past papers every single lesson. After each lesson, I will have you solve plenty and plenty of questions that came from past papers. So you guys will go to the files section and then you're gonna click on classified files. You're gonna find a lot of files here. Like right now there's 64 results and it just keeps growing. You just click here and you watch my video of solving these questions. Definitely take advantage of this, right? Do not solve on your own. Make sure you are watching me solving these questions because I want you to get used to the thought process that I have. You can also click on the tab here that says Unit 1 videos, and you're going to find the past papers, all the past papers here that I have solved by myself. So just definitely watch them. Now, this is a Unit 1 course. If you are in a Unit 2 and 3 course, then you're going to find another tab here for Unit 2 and 3 videos. All right, guys, so with that, I am done with this orientation video. Guys, it is super easy to get an A in the AS. Just follow my plan, follow my advice, solve the classified questions after every single lesson. Stay on track, okay? And solve all past papers minimum twice at least. All right, and with that, guys, go to your website, log in, start learning, and learn with enthusiasm.